Hello, Georgi Romanic here. In today's video I would like to discuss that more doesn't necessarily mean better. To support this hypothesis, I will use a particular example of COVID-19 restrictions when you want to enter Canada. There are too many restrictions. Yesterday was 31st December 2021. And I traveled from Europe to Canada. I visited 2 airports in Europe, and then I landed in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And what you see now on your screens are the scenes that I yesterday afternoon recorded with my mobile phone. Thousands of people boxed in hallways and corridors waiting to get to customs, to be checked for COVID-19 documents. Now, how do I know that Canada currently has too many measures? 2 things tell me that. First is that during this pandemic I traveled 3 times, which is not too much, but still it's a sample. I traveled three times. Yesterday was 3rd time. And I always connected flights. It was in Europe, United States, here in Canada. And the only lineups that I see related to COVID-19 situation are in Canada. The second thing that tells me that there are too many restrictions is that an average country has 2 to 3 restrictions to enter. Canada has 5 related to COVID-19. And of course, these 2 reasons are connected to each other, and I believe they result in these things that we see on the screen, these huge lineups. Imagine how much virus transmission, if there are positive people, are happening in these lineups, because we were stuck there for over 1 hour to get to customs. Some of these people are connecting flights. Some of these people are going to their families. Some of these people are going to other parts of Canada. So this is the perfect place to transmit virus. You know, if somebody asked me what is the best way to transmit virus, I would say, well, go to airports where people are coming from all around the world, put them in a hallway where they cannot maintain any distance, keep them there for 1.5, 2 hours, and then let them go wherever they want to go. That's a very efficient way to transmit any virus, including SARS-CoV-2. Now, currently there are 5 restrictions related to COVID-19 to enter Canada. First, you have to be double vaccinated, and only certain types of vaccines are accepted. And that's okay because most countries require that. Perfect. Second is to have negative COVID-19 test taken few days before your flight. And I would say even that is okay because not all, but some countries also require that. Some countries are either vaccination or negative test. Canada is both. Now, another problem related to this negative test is that for some reason Canada doesn't accept antigen tests, whereas most countries do. Now, I don't know why. Is there something wrong about these tests that Canadians discovered but they don't want to share with the rest of the world? And by the way, antigen tests are way cheaper and faster than PCR. So why are these tests not accepted in Canada? Now, you might say, well, it doesn't matter because you do those tests before entering Canada, so it cannot be responsible for these lineups. Perhaps not, but it all adds up because which type of test you have, somebody needs to check up. So, there is a person that needs to look at that, which means it is something that can create lineup. Third document is, and now we go into the realm where other countries don't have these restrictions. Third document is related to application that you need to download to your smartphone. It's called Arrive to Canada, where there are a bunch of forms you need to fill out, and then at the end you get a receipt, you need to print it out and show at the border. Questions are related to, again, vaccination. Where are you planning to isolate if needed in Canada? What country are you coming from, and so on. Now you might say, well, first of all, you don't have to print it out. You can just show it on your phone, and that's true. But you're not making very smart decision if you are adopting that approach, because your phone can be broken. Your phone can stop working for whatever reason. Somebody can steal it. You can lose it. And you don't want to rely on that if that document will determine whether or not you can enter Canada. So that's third document. Now, I still don't understand why you need that document that asks the same questions related to vaccination that is given in document number 1, whether or not you are vaccinated, and in document 2 that requires from you to have negative PCR, molecular PCR test. So third document is that application. Fourth document is declaration form at the customs, at the border, and that was even before pandemic, but it just adds to all these documents. So whether or not you visited farm before traveling to Canada, what vegetables, fruits, meats, and so on you are bringing to Canada, you need to declare that. Also, are you bringing alcohol and so on. So again, somebody needs to check that, and that creates lineup. And the fifth thing is you need to take COVID-19 test at the airport once you arrive. So in addition to the test before arrival, you need to take test when you arrive. And that's just too many. I understand the intentions are good. The intentions are kind. They want to minimize the transmission of this virus. But too many restrictions can backfire, and we see that in this video. We see that in those videos. There are huge lineups. Listen to first lecture on virology from Professor Vincent Racaniello. Viruses don't have emotions. They don't want to particularly affect John, Mary, or whatever. If you have, why am I saying this? Because perhaps one line of thinking is like, well, okay, this is a lineup. All these lineups are related to COVID-19 testing, document checks, and so on. Virus doesn't care. If it is a lineup, it is equally to transmit in that line as well as in the busy store down the street, in bakery, library, disco club, classroom, anywhere. It doesn't care. Virus doesn't know, oh, okay, this is a lineup related to COVID-19 testing, so I'm not gonna jump from person to person here. I will wait for them to leave the airport, and when they get to their family, then I will jump from one person to another. No, it's equally likely. I would argue it's even more likely to be transmitted there, because there are too many people from all around the world in one spot, and it's physically impossible to maintain distance. Even worse, they're a little bit, I must say, patronizing people by saying, oh, make sure you keep 2 meter distance. It's impossible. Physically, if you put 20 people in this office, we cannot physically keep 2 meter distance. It would be like throwing somebody in a swimming pool full of acid and you tell them, make sure you swim. Well, I can't. It's acid. The same is here. I can't because there is only that much space and thousands of people. I hope this video has at least 3 positive messages. First one, more doesn't necessarily mean better. If you are a student, for example, you go to an exam and you get a question and you don't know the answer, telling more about something irrelevant doesn't necessarily mean better. Second positive is that at the end of the day, this experiment in Canada has a positive that other countries can look at it and say, okay, this is not the way to do it. Most countries have 2 requirements, at least double vaccination and a negative test. And they are working as well as Canada when it comes to COVID-19. Most countries are not worse or better. So clearly having these 5 restrictions doesn't mean better, and those countries can use this example to see that. Third message is study natural sciences, physics, mathematics, biology, chemistry, physical chemistry, engineering, all kinds of engineering, because then you will understand that we operate in the realm of statistics and probability. You can never prevent something 100%. And somehow I have a feeling that here all these restrictions are imposed to completely eliminate spread of virus. That is impossible, because we live by the rules of statistics and probability. No matter how many restrictions you impose, there will always be a percentage of people that transmit and get infected. You need to have restrictions. It is important to have measures, but not too many measures. Let me give you another example, just crossed my mind now. In engineering, when you have huge projects, not building house or whatever, but huge projects, let's say a nuclear power plant, huge bridge, a dam or something like that, then feasibility study usually contains a small chapter that gives an estimate of the number of workers, people that will die during the construction of that object. Because it's so huge project, you have to account for that. That doesn't mean there will be no safety measures. You impose all reasonable safety measures, and reasonable means throughout, similar projects throughout the history in the last 100 years, let's say, had these measures, they proved to be effective. I will impose those measures, safety measures, but in addition to that, the project is so huge, by probability and statistics, unfortunately, few people will lose their lives. The same is here. We impose reasonable measures, the best possible measures, vaccine and negative test before getting to country. There is no need to impose additional measures, because whatever you do, certain percentage of people will become positive for this virus. I hope my message was clear. I'm not here to argue about COVID-19, and I hope you noticed I never said anything about virus specifically. I'm not an expert for that. My goal is to tell you that you should look at the world from another point of view.
Now, I'm not trying to argue that it's good or bad to brush teeth. What I'm trying to argue for is to think about things from a new point of view.
Another point of view in this case is the realm of statistics and probability. There is no 100% protection. Impose reasonable restrictions that many other countries are imposing, and that's it. Otherwise, you are overdoing it, and it has negative consequences. Until next video, goodbye.